Hey folks, David McKnight here, best-selling author of The Power Zero. Today we're taking a closer look at Suze Orman's recent interview with MoneyWatch, where she had some controversial advice for Gen Z investors. Let's dig into it. First, Suze says, Gen Z is excited about investing, but they're skipping the foundation. They know every TikTok trend, but not enough about the basics, like compound interest, Roth accounts, or starting early. My take? Dead on. TikTok is full of financial influencers promising 10x gains with meme coins, yield hacking, NFTs, pick your buzzword. But ask those same investors to explain how compound interest works or why Roth accounts are powerful, and all you'll get is blank stares. Here's the truth. If you're in your 20s, compound interest is your superpower. And when that growth happens inside a tax-free account like a Roth IRA or Roth 401k, you shield yourself from the impact of dramatically higher taxes down the road. In fact, in other interviews, Suze has said that tax rates in the next 10 years are going to skyrocket due to the exploding national debt. Suze and I are 100% on the same page here. Next, Suze says, many choose a traditional 401k instead of a Roth. That's trading a small tax break today for a lifetime of bigger taxes later. My take? Yes, yes, and yes again. This is the huge trap that not enough people are talking about. Let's say you contribute $10,000 to a traditional 401k. You get a small tax break today, maybe save $1,500. That feels good, right? But when that money grows to $100,000 in retirement, now you owe taxes on the entire thing at a tax rate that could be double what you're paying today. And here's the kicker. Our nation's fiscal house is on fire. Debt is exploding. Social Security and Medicare are limping towards insolvency. Taxes are going to go up. In fact, a recent study out of Penn Wharton says that if we don't right our fiscal ship with state by 2040, that no combination of raising taxes or reducing spending will arrest the financial collapse of our nation. So that small tax break today could really end up derailing your retirement down the road. Like I always say, get to the 0% tax bracket in retirement. Why? Because if tax rates double, 2 times 0 is still 0. Next, Suze says, target date funds are for people who don't want to think. You never invest based on age, you invest based on your circumstances. My take? 100% agree that target date funds are not the way to go with your 401k. If you're in your 20s or 30s, you should be allocating 100% of your portfolio to stocks. Let me make this easy for you. Put 70% into a total U.S. stock market index and 30% into a total international stock market index, and rebalance at least on an annual basis so your allocation doesn't get too out of whack. The problem with target funds is they slowly shift you to bonds over time in an autopilot set it and forget it sort of a way, and that can be dangerous. These funds don't know your life, they don't know your risk tolerance, and they certainly don't know what the market is doing. In 2021 and 2022, many target date funds got hammered because they were overloaded with bonds right as interest rates were spiking. That safe asset, it backfired. So if you're young, you should be focused on taking risk in the stock market. I'm talking 100% stock allocation. Bonds shouldn't even be in your vocabulary. Allocate based on the 70-30 U.S. international allocation I discussed, rebalance at least on an annual basis, and then take a nap for 40 years. I call that set it and forget it. Next, Suze says, whole life, universal life, and variable life are some of the biggest ripoffs out there. If you need life insurance, buy term, period. My take? All right, buckle up. This is where I respectfully but emphatically disagree. Suze is repeating a mantra that made sense in the 1990s when cash value policies were fee-heavy, opaque, and often underperformed. But today, a properly structured index universal life policy can play a critical role in your risk management plan in retirement. Consider a recent study out of international accounting firm Ernst & Young. That study showed that if you allocate 30% of your retirement contributions towards an index universal life policy with the intent of building 3 to 5 years of living expenses by day one of retirement, some really interesting things happen. Instead of only being able to take 4% of your stock portfolio out per year, as is the conventional wisdom, you can now take 8% of your stock portfolio with a 95% likelihood your money will last through life expectancy. So how does this work? Well, in the year following a down year in the stock market, live out of the cash value of your index universal life policy. That gives your portfolio a chance to recover before you take further distributions distributions. The math shows that this is the most efficient way to draw down your retirement savings in retirement. Folks, the math here doesn't lie. And when Suze says these policies are the biggest ripoffs out there, she's spouting one-size-fits-all financial dogma in an attempt to poison the well, to shut down the conversation before it ever begins. If you're serious about maximizing your income in retirement, Index Universal Life Insurance as a complement to your stock-rich retirement portfolio should 100% be on the table. Here's the big picture. Suze's heart is in the right place. She wants to protect people from bad financial products, and that's a good thing. She champions old school values: save, invest consistently, live below your means. I'm on board with all of that. But here's what's missing. The financial world has changed. We're no longer in a world where you can count on guaranteed pensions, low tax rates forever, safe bond returns, and solvent Social Security. If you're a millennial or Gen Z, you're stepping into adulthood in a world where nothing is guaranteed except for rising taxes and more personal responsibility. That's the hard truth. But here's the good news. You can still win. You just need a new roadmap. And that brings me to a book I've spent the last 6 months working on. It's called The Secret Order of Millionaires, and I wrote it especially for the millennial and Gen Z generations. In this story, you'll meet a Gen Z investor who thinks he has it all figured out until his worldview suddenly collapses and he has to rebuild it from scratch. What he finds is a hidden community of everyday millionaires, people with modest incomes who use 7 timeless principles to build long-term tax-free wealth. If you're tired of the noise, if you're ready for clarity, and if you want a system that works in the real world, this book is for you. The Secret Order of Millionaires, coming soon. And it was written for you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, drop a comment. I respond to every single one of them personally. And don't forget to click like, subscribe, and the bell so you never miss a video. I'm David McKnight, and I'll see you on the next video.